Hello people, how are you guys doing? Welcome to this series where we talk about running loops and stems and how to make them work for you. So in this mini episode we're going to be looking at routing. And routing is not that broad, and we are going to be looking at a couple of things. And first, we are going to be looking at audio devices. So on the screen we have Ableton. I also have I was planning this at least for this weekend, so we are going to be using it as we experiment. So we are going to go to preferences. So we are going to come here to view. Did I forget where preferences are? They're in options, yeah. So another shortcut you can use for preferences, you can hold control and the comma, control plus comma. So we have various menus here, but for now we're going to be dwelling on audio. And here we have audio device, we have the driver type. So this depends on the kind of drivers you have on your laptop. If you're new at this, of course you will not have installed ASIO, so you'll have MME stroke DirectX, which is not, I wouldn't recommend it. It has several issues, and I'd recommend you to download the ASIO for all. So you're just going to go to your browser and then you're going to search for ASIO for all, and then you're going to download it from their official website. Yeah, and make sure to download the latest version. Multi-language 2.16. And then once you've downloaded it, you've installed it, you will have to restart your computer, and then so that it can be read. So once you have ASIO, below it now you have audio devices, and now this varies because we have many types of sound cards to start with. So for example, if you can see in my screen, I have this ASIO for all version 2. So this is actually what you downloaded, yeah. And then because I'm actually using a sound card right now, I'm using the Focusrite USB ASIO. There's also the Focusrite Thunderbolt ASIO. If you have FL Studio installed on your laptop, it comes with this driver, FL Studio ASIO. These ones, I think they came with Presoners. I was using a Presoners sound card some time back. UMC. I think this one was for Behringer or something. Yeah. Then I was using the Behringer Wing as my sound card for recording that. So I had to install the driver. This for XA and this for the X32. So when you come down here, you have channel configuration. So depending on the number of inputs and outputs that your sound card has, you'll have different options here. So mine has 2 inputs. The sound card I'm using right now has 2 inputs, and you can actually rename them. It also has 2 outputs, so left and right. So the left has the click, the left has the track, and then when I'm using them as same thing, I use them as tracks, so I've labeled it like that. So which brings us to this page. So we have 2 kinds of outputs if you're using track and click. We have this main out and we have this Q out. So the click most of the time will be routed to the Q out automatically. Like when Ableton was coded and everything, the metronome was routed to the Q out, and we have the main out. So what would happen if you have 2 outputs? Like, as you can see, I've labeled them. So I'll have the track going to the main out, and you'll have the Q out or the metronome going out to the click. So you have left, right, but now left has the click and right has the track. And Just to remind you, this is the click volume. Yeah, so that is one way of routing. That has to be the simplest way of routing. The second way of routing would be using return tracks. So this is simple in the case, let's say for example you just have a set list that has only like 3 loops or something. So that's not a lot. So you don't need a lot of configurations when it comes to routing. You just need one. You can actually send everything to the master and they click to the queue out. But now when you have a set list that has these many tracks, I'd advise you to use sends and actually group your tracks. So group your tracks and then use sends. So how is that practical? Let's see. If you can remember very well, under each track we have this audio too. So here's where your routing also happens. So automatically all your tracks are routed to the main out. So as you can see, main out. But then you can route differently. So you can actually press external out and then you can have the same interface as the one that's here. So you can either route it to the left or to the right. But this can be so tedious especially when you have a lot of tracks like the way I have here. It can be tedious because let's say you can lose track of where things are. So if for example I'll have that as main, let me just look for the queues. Yeah, I have queues here at number 5. So I'll do this external out and then I'll send the queues to the left. So right now
2, 3, 4.
Oh, we also have the click. Let me route that click. It's number 16.
Solo 2, 3, 4.
So you can actually hear the click and the cues on the left side of the ear or on the left ear, and then you can hear the track on this other side. So splitting at least has already happened. So
Verse 2.
this side
3,
that you're hearing
4.
on the left, this is what you're taking to this is what the band is supposed to be hearing, and then you can send this other side to the house. But you see, because I'm speaking from experience, this has messed me up several times. There's a time I had many tracks like this, but then I had not routed correctly. But now you see, so what actually happened that day, the click was not in the house, but the cues were. So naturally, I will think, because now the cues and the click are on the same channel, the click has the issue. So I'm like, the click is routed well, the track is routed well, but why am I hearing the cues? So it took me like 5 minutes, 5 solid minutes to actually come to that cues place and just see, oh, I had actually routed it to the house. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So when it comes to a situation like this where you have many tracks like I do, so the first thing would be to group them. So you select all of them. For example, this is Great Jehovah, so I'll just group all the tracks for that song. I will exclude the click and the cues, then I'll group them. So I'll write Great Jehovah. Oh, caps lock. Great Jehovah. Yeah. So I'll route them. I'll group them, that is. So, and then the cues for that song, I'll also group them and write cues. Yeah, so the other thing would be to create return tracks. So what are return tracks? So basically in Ableton, when you remember the set lists, the set file we were opening the first time, the default set file, it would come with reverb and delay. So that's the first application. You can actually drop an effect. You can actually drop an effect on that return. For example, I'm going to create one and create another one. So you're going to drop an effect on one of these return tracks, and then you're going to send a track to those return tracks. And then, for example, if you had reverb on this one, let me just do it practically. Let me just load reverb. Yeah, so I'll just have reverb there, and then we'll see. So we have that. So we are going to send all these tracks to the reverb track, return track. So we have this send knobs, and so of course the more volume you add to this, the more you are sending to this bus or track. So here the difference, you will hear the reverb.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So when I solo the reverb track, you're going to hear the reverb. I'm just going to exaggerate the reverb so that you can hear. So yeah, we have the effect on this track, and that is one application of the return tracks. The other application will be basically the same, but now without any effects. And so what would happen is that I'll send that song to this, let me call this one house. So this is the track that's supposed to go to the house, and then I'm going to have this band, and I'll show you the application of that. So
Intro 2, 3.
We have the cues. Oh, wait a minute. So you're also going to come here, audio true, and then you're going to route them to the sends only. Sends only.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So everything is stereo right now.
Solo.
Just a minute. Wait, 16. For some reason you can't hear the click.
Intro.
Oh yeah, now you can hear it.
3, 4.
So let me pan this one. So when you route this way, so this configuration now will start happening in these two tracks. So you're going to have audio to external out, and you're also going to have external out there. So the house is going to go to the track, and this one to the click.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So when you hear you can listen to the house alone, and then to the click alone. So at least this way it's easier to actually visualize everything, because now if I was to come and troubleshoot, I'll come to this house and see, has it been routed correctly? Okay, yeah, it's going to the track. What about the band? Going to the click. I come here to Great Jehovah and I'll see, how have I sent it to A or to B? That's correct. Then cues to B. The other advantage of this is there are times you want to test your tracks. Or let us start with that scenario first. You want to test your tracks. So in this scenario, I'll switch off the house first, and then of course I'll send that one to the ears too, and I'll be like, yeah, it's playing. Or maybe it's offering time, or maybe it's announcement time. Let's just give that analogy. It's announcement time. If people are not playing, maybe people are not so tight to the special song or the offertory song, so you can also play the song for them, and only them will get to hear it. So the house has been muted down there, so it's just them hearing that. And like, it was going like this, etc. So another application will be, maybe it's in a worship set, and for some reason you needed a space. Let's say you needed a gap in between the first slow song and the second slow song, but then in between you're not supposed to be playing any loop. It's just a worship freely session, and then you want to cue in the loop, but now of course the drummer is not following your tempo, so you can tap in the tempo. And then maybe the loop can be playing in the ears at first, and then you can just add the volume, or you can unmute, and we'll see the practicality of that in another episode once we dive deeper into loops themselves. But those are the two applications. So the first way you can route your stuff, you can use the cue out and the main out, and this is mostly when you have less than 7 loops, or you have like one track and then you have like 7 loops below it. And then the second application is grouping your tracks and actually having return tracks where you send your tracks. So in a layman's language, you're actually sending your tracks to another bus. It's just that in Ableton they're called return tracks, but in other DAWs they're called buses. So you're actually sending them to another bus, and then once you send them to another bus, now the routing happens below them. For the house we have the 2 or the track, and for the band we have the 1. And that's it about routing. See you in the next.